A mod that, despite having come out recently, is gaining a lot of traction and fans is Modern EU4. Modern EU4 starts off in 2021, 1st of February, so 1 month ago, and it features all of your favorite leaders for most of the nations, an updated development map mode with Germany going up to 2.4k, France 2.9k, and Romania for some reason 500 development when we know it's supposed to be below 100. Aside from the development map mode, we also have a completely different religious map mode, as we have the addition of secular religion wherever it is deemed worthy. The HRE is surprisingly still around, not sure what to make of this, but Luxembourg is the emperor of the only other nation in the HRE, Germany. And the cultural map mode has also been updated and is actually quite accurate, with Albanian and Basque being their own cultures, as well as Latvian and Lithuanian being separated, and Hungarian being in the same culture group as Finnish and Estonian. As you go into the game, you quickly realize that you have a ton of new government reforms, even up to 23 government reforms in one government type, a lot of new missions, albeit a lot of the old ones as well from the vanilla game, quite a few new decisions you can apply to your nation, and a brand new military tech group. That means that you have, at the very start, for example, as Germany, Western Ancient Infantry. It can go all the way up to tech level 85 when you get machine guns finally. Not to worry, your sprites have some decent assault rifles from the very get-go. There's a huge amount of new idea groups also for both military, diplo, and even for admin ideas, but do take into account the fact that the mod is still being worked on, as it's just been released 1 month ago, so there's a lot of work to still be done to the mod. There are, of course, a couple of new advisors and quite a few new buildings, including extra fort levels, extra trade buildings, religious buildings, and you even have transportation from road all the way to mass transit systems that can give an extra plus 10% friendly movement speed, with the railroads giving plus 40%, so you essentially can get 50% extra movement speed in your provinces. We now also have dollars instead of ducats to keep up with the times, and even the decision to leave the European Union. Membership of the European Union being a modifier that you start off with if you're a member of the EU. So whether you want to try and restore the Roman Empire as Romania or crush everybody as Russia, you really should try out this mod. It is a super fun mod, and it brings a lot of much needed diversity and entertainment to the base EU4 game, with an all new change of scenery and assault rifles. Global warming's favorite mod, Diluvium Universalis, shows a world where a lot of nations have had their lands lost to the sea and oceans of the world. That is correct, Brandenburg is a 2-province island nation, as are many of the other nations on our list here. We don't even have the Netherlands anymore, so that's one problem solved for the South Africans. England is basically a multitude of islands, so nothing changed there either. Venice and the Italian peninsula saw a big cut into itself, as did Wallachia, the Mamluks, and many other parts of the world. It is actually quite interesting to see what the world would look like if all of the polar caps would melt. So whenever you look at this map, remember that this is probably going to be the world in a few hundred years, or even faster than that, i.e. don't live in Florida, boys. On the bright side, you can become a pirate nation in this mod with a ton of nations around the world. There are some minor changes as well, such as a few of the trade goods have been moved around, and of course, as I mentioned, the development map mode has been completely redone. But overall, the main feature of this mod is the fact that the map is completely different, and it offers a lot of different expansion opportunities and a variety of new alliance sets. For fans of the Game of Thrones universe, A Song of Ice and Fire is a great mod to be experiencing. You can start off either during Robert's Rebellion or even earlier on during a shattered world where every single one of these 7 kingdoms is quite fragmented into various entities before the actual unification happened. You have other bookmarks you can go through, even all the way to the Night King story, when the army of the dead are basically marching onto the 7 kingdoms. Or if you want, you can experience it from the perspective of the other people or Easterlings in the other continents of the world. A mod that comes with fully scripted cultures and even religions faithful to the TV series more than to the books, really. A Song of Ice and Fire definitely has a lot of features that you should experience for yourself. You have a completely new advisor system tailored for this particular mod, a huge variety of new idea groups, more than double the vanilla idea groups available in this mod, and a completely revamped building system divided in 4 different sections, namely namely the civic section, commerce, fortifications, and grand projects. You even get some unique sprites available depending on which nation you play as, but more than anything, you can really immerse yourself into the world of the Game of Thrones, where you can take on the role of defender of humanity in the fight against the White Walkers, or vice versa. Or should you wish to, you can just start your adventure as a mercantile city on the other side of the world, building up your forces and waiting for the White Walkers to come to you, or for you to take the fight back onto them. The team that worked on A Song of Ice and Fire really has a lot of modding experience, and you can see that with the features that are completely new and unique to this particular mod. So if you are looking for a very unique mod as well as complete overhaul, then try out A Song of Ice and Fire. If you miss playing Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls universe, you should try the Elder Scrolls Universalis. This mod obviously brings you the entire world of Cyrodiil, as well as the adjacent islands and even the islands from the Tribunal expansion from Morrowind, as well as other lands fabled away within the lore of the Elder Scrolls that we don't actually see ourselves within the other games. You can choose to start between the 54 up to 478 start dates, thus getting the chance to even play as the Elassian Order that is fabled away within the lore of Skyrim. Once you start your game, you quickly realize that there are a ton of provinces within the actual game with their own unique cultures, religions, and diplomacy. We even have an HRE style empire, which in the 478 start date is basically the dominion of the elves. There's a ton of new available idea groups such as the Merithic defensive ideas or offensive, militaristic, tactical, nationalism, provincial ideas, and so on. All you have to do is just scroll around the idea sets. A ton of new buildings as well, including extra fortifications, infrastructure buildings that lower devastation and increase the friendly movement speed, such as the roads do, colleges before universities, and a third tier for tax production, efficiency buildings, and even an admin efficiency increase spy network. The units can also have a lot of more pips than they have in the base game, with some of the end game units having up to 11 defensive fire and 10 offensive fire alongside equivalent shock and morale pips. There are brand new sprites as well within the game, and even brand new estates with their own unique privileges, as well as even new advisors. The game is so changed and so different, it really feels like a completely new game overall. The modding team that has worked on the Elder Scrolls Universalis has put in a lot of work in this game, and they are still developing it, so if you'd like to try it out, you will find the link in the description. Download it and immerse yourself in the world of the Elder Scrolls Universalis. If you're tired of the same 1444, then you should try out Antebellum. Antebellum basically is an alternate history mod where certain things didn't go as planned or had a different outcome in the years prior to 1444, and as such, Francia is now the emperor of the HRE, with Lotharingia still being around. As you can imagine, the succession went a bit differently after Charlemagne passed away, which is why we still have a sort of unified Germanic entity. Culturally speaking, the Germans are definitely not as predominant as they are in the standard 1444, with the Wendish, Pomeranians, and Sorbians being quite active in the eastern parts of actual Germany. There are other changes around the mod. Culturally speaking, Albanian for some reason is part of the Greek culture, and Turkic is part of the Altai culture group. There is a ton of lore to go around. If you go to the religious map mode, you quickly see that the south of Italy and the south of Iberia are still predominantly Muslim, which means the Reconquista has not really started yet, and the Kingdom of Sicily is still around. I am talking about the Muslim Kingdom of Sicily. At the same time, the Byzantines have not been completely overtaken, and we still have the Kingdom of Nicaea, which is a Greek Orthodox kingdom in the Anatolian part, with Bulgaria still being a sizable nation, all of which because the Ottomans for some reason did not even happen. The Nizarids also are around, as is the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the only Catholic kingdom in the Middle East, and definitely will be struggling to stay that way. We have a few other religions such as Romuva from the start. Norse is around in Denmark and Norway, as is Suomensko in the Finnish lands and the Sapmi lands. There is a completely new road system in the game as well that increases friendly movement speed by 5 and doubles that with each adjacent building, all the way up to plus 25% movement speed once you get the railroad. You have an extra extra level of forts, level 9, and a few of the missions have been changed with newly added flavor and even icons for the mission groups, as well as of course permanent modifiers. I highly recommend you guys try out Antebellum, as it doesn't change that many of the core mechanics, but it does offer a much more interesting 1444 that I think we should all experience. This next mod is also a great historical masterpiece. I am talking about Veritas et Fortitudo. You can start your adventures within the mod in 1309. You have a completely different map of Europe with a lot of different nations. Most of Europe is quite shattered in this year, with the Byzantines retaining quite a little bit of their authority over the Balkans and parts of Anatolia. Poland being quite disunited, as is Hungary, the Serbian lands, of course the HRE, even France, and even Iberia. Culturally speaking, we have a redone map mode, and not historically accurate, but definitely going for the balanced option. As for the development map mode, you'll be shocked to see a lot of development, but that is actually because of a very specific reason, and that reason is because developing your provinces is a lot cheaper right now in the game, so don't be shocked to see provinces up to 250 development around the world. This was accounted for and has been scaled so that you don't get insanely high amounts of income from very high development provinces. You now have a realm management interaction, as well as national stability is completely redone, and even a Veritas et Fortitudo encyclopedia to help you out with the general information and basically how to play the game. There's tons of other decisions, a lot of newly redone missions as well, and a redone idea group set with fewer, more concentrated ideas. The estates interface has been changed a little bit as well, with a lot of new privileges to be given out and taken from the various estates. And as you can tell, the various colors for countries on the map have been completely changed, especially since we have a ton of new countries. We even have the addition of Romuva as a religion within Lithuania, as well as Suomensko and Shamanist in the north part of Europe, with Tengri still being around as part of the Kipchak Khanate. One of the best features about this mod is the fact that you get the chance to experience many of the historical empires. Another thing to note is that you actually have a garrison in every single province aside from the forts, so it's not going to be super easy taking over a province anymore. Building wise, we have the addition of colleges, as well as unique buildings such as the Palace, Revenue Services, Embassy, Admiralty, and War College, each of which add some interesting modifiers for your country. There's a ton of new goods as well, such as opium, China's favorite delicacy, and even olive oil for all the Greeks in the chat. And a lot of the base goods have a brand new icon now, such as glassware, and many of the other icons have been changed. The team that built this mod is quite active, and they put a lot of work in their mod, so I highly recommend you check out this mod. You can find it in the link in the description. A mod that truly focuses on Europa Universalis is a Voltaire's Nightmare. Voltaire's Nightmare has a completely redrawn map, which is basically just Europe with parts of the Middle East and North Africa, and a ton of new provinces. There are thousands of new provinces within this mod. In fact, the center of the mod, of course, is going to be the HRE, as the mod itself revolves around the Holy Roman Empire from the year 1054 during the Great Schism between Orthodoxy and Catholicism, when the church split into different sides, up until the 1789 French Revolution. The mod itself is arguably one of the most historically accurate mods on this list. When it comes to cultures, it even has the Basque culture as a separate culture, as well as the Albanians as a separate culture, which is quite historical, whilst at the same time the Hungarians are their own group, as are the Romanians. You also get a chance to look at the Greek culture in Anatolia prior to the Turkish invasions, and you get to experience the Holy Roman Empire from an early age when it was completely different, be it the electors themselves or the emperor, which did change hands between Worms, Luxembourg, Austria, and so on, even Bohemia having its turn at it. The mod has a couple of new idea groups and a rebalanced idea set, manufacturing ideas, cultural and logistical ideas being quite well crafted. What does shine for the mod is its building system. The building system is extremely well conceived, with 3 tiers of trade power, 3 tiers of production and tax buildings, as well as the addition of ports, armories, guilds, and road networks, and even 2 different tiers of education system. Due to the fact that there are thousands of new provinces, most of the states in Voltaire's Nightmare have up to 10 provinces. That means means that overall the development of the world is a lot less, with certain cities shining above others, such as Vienna here at 13 dev definitely being above most of its surrounding neighbors. Trade good wise, there's a ton of new trade goods as well, with the addition of pigs, silver replacing gold, which means that having silver mines give you directly the ducats that you need, implies that gold gives you instead garrison growth for some reason, thus losing its value quite a bit, although it is a base for production cost, so not bad. Cheese also makes its appearance, as does a beer. There's a ton of new mission trees as well. Almost every bigger nation in the mod has a unique mission tree that will help it expand and give a lot of flavor to all of these nations that you decide to play as. The mod definitely adds in a ton of new flavor and a lot of unique modifiers, decisions, and events that will shape the way that the world looks like. So if you want to really experience a very historically accurate mod from the 1054 start date, you should definitely try out Voltaire's Nightmare. This next mod is really a bit of an extreme overhaul. I am talking about Extended Timeline. Extended Timeline offers you to play between the 58 start date, where you can try out the Roman Empire at its peak, and this is fully scripted. You got special cultures for that era, religions, dev map mode, and so on. Or you can even go for the Second World War, which again has a different dev map mode, different culture map mode, religion, and so on. The mod not only comes with a fully scripted provincial, cultural, and development mode, but it also has changes to the way that the provinces are, with a more historically accurate provincial style province rework. Most of the missions are the same from vanilla, but there are some missions that are changed. A few of the policies have also been changed, and you have quite a few new decisions that you can enact, such as found the European Union or the space program. There's also a lot of different idea groups, and a lot have been reworked, such as the Order idea group, which offers a mixture of both army, economic, and social ideas. Institution-wise, starting from the early Roman times, you can start with writing ancient imperialism and work your way all the way to globalization in the 1950s being the last institution. There's a ton of new buildings as well, such as an increase in production buildings, with factories, coal plant, and nuclear power plants being a thing that offers dev cost reduction, production efficiency, as well as goods produced and tax modifiers. There are also more army buildings, naval buildings, extra defense buildings, and trade buildings, and even the classical transportation, road, highway, railway, and mass transit system. Each tech group also has new units, up to around 11 offensive and defensive fire pips on the last technology group. Trade goods are also changed. We now have the addition of oil, for example, which is a very valuable trade good. It lowers regiment cost by 20%, and it costs a base of 12, which is insanely high and is dispersed, as you would imagine, within historical parts. Extended Timeline offers you a variety of different eras that you can enjoy playing through. So if you haven't tried the mod out yet, really recommend that you do. This next mod offers everything that you would expect from a fantasy world. I am of course talking about Anbennar. Anbennar starts you off in the world of Dungeons and Dragons with a massive continent spamming over thousands of newly added provinces with other continents to explore and to colonize around the world. The map of Anbennar is absolutely massive, bigger than any of the other mods on our list. From the eastern Orklands to the southern deserts and the Empire of Anbennar itself, which you can see through the Imperial map mode. Basically, it does replace the Holy Roman Empire mechanics and has a much more interesting and more friendlier color. Anbennar is a world of multiple cultures, from humans to elves, dwarves, gnomes, and so on. All the mythical creatures you can imagine will be a part of this world and will come with their own unique technology groups, estates, and even privileges for said estates. There are dozens of new religions in the game, such as the Kobold Dragon Cult, the Regent Court, Old Dukan, Great Dukan, and multiple other ones in the old world, as well as the colonizable new worlds. Each of these religions obviously take from the base game some mechanics but improve them, such as the aspects mechanic of the Protestantism. Each race is represented by various cultures, of course, such as the green orcs, gray orcs, and so on, representing the variation of orcs. Despite only having one extra building, namely the Mage Tower, and despite having the base idea groups, there are mini mods that you can attach to Anbennar that give you extra idea groups and so on, improving your experience. experience. There are dozens of mission trees unique to most of the nations in Anbennar, giving them specific flavor, not just through the mission tree but through the events that you get as well. And you do have multiple government reforms specific to the nations that you're playing as that will definitely give you a lot of interesting flavor and improve your game experience considerably. If you are a fan of Dungeons and Dragons and you want to be immersed in that world, I highly recommend you try out this mod. It is definitely a super well made mod with a ton of flavor that will keep you very much excited with playing EU4. The greatest masterpiece of an overhaul mod is Imperium Universalis. Recently updated to the 1.30.4 version of EU4, Imperium Universalis offers you the option of starting off in the ancient world as either one of the many Italian city-states or Iberian or even somewhere in the Hellenical world right as you are getting ready to start your conquest, maybe as Philip Argiad or maybe even Alexander later down the line, against any one of the plentiful of enemies in the Middle East, India, and even China, as we have a ton of nations and a huge map available to us. The mod comes with a really great cultural map that really shows off the ancient world, as well as a population map because we have a population system in the game that replaces the development system in the base game with commoner population, tribal population, and upper class population, giving out tax income, goods produced, trade power and production, as well as manpower. Of course, you cannot use your mana points to develop these, so you actually have to improve your population through other means. With religion being quite diverse, plentiful of different religions around the world, from the Roman faiths to the Olympian faiths and so on, there are plenty of government reforms particular to each nation you're playing as, a huge amount of missions, including some really interesting Roman missions if you try to go for the Roman Empire restoration, and a great amount of new sprites that really resemble the ancient world sprites. These have been so professionally done that it really feels like it's a part of the base EU4 game. The estates also got an interface redone, and we now have different privileges based off of the particular estates within your nation. There's a ton of new institutions as well. As you go through the age, you embrace agriculture, construction, culture, government, metalworking, trade, and so on, each of which give you different bonuses and penalties if you did not take these institutions. You also have special units such as citizen infantry, as well as new mercenary companies particular to whatever region you're a part of. So if you want to spend another 2,000 hours playing EU4, I recommend you download Imperium Universalis and give it a try.